We begin in Europe today because European leaders are holding a meeting in Paris after being sidelined by US President Donald Trump over the war in Ukraine. The US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has arrived in Saudi Arabia for talks with Russian officials about ending the war. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is on his way to join those talks and says European leaders do not deserve to be given a seat at the negotiating table.
The
European philosophy hasn't gone anywhere, so I don't know what they should do at the negotiating table. If they're going to weasel out some cunning ideas about freezing the conflict while actually intending, as is their custom, nature and habit, to continue the war, then why should we invite them at all?
Ukraine's president is now also heading to Saudi Arabia, but he'll not be invited in the official talks about his country's future. Volodymyr Zelensky reiterating he won't accept the outcome of any talks that he's not involved in.
Ukraine is not participating. Ukraine knew nothing about it. Ukraine regards any negotiations on Ukraine without Ukraine as negotiations with no result. And we cannot acknowledge anything, any arrangements about us that were made without us, and we will not recognise such agreements.
In Europe now, here's Adam Parsons with more.
What's clear is that the Russians think that they have prospered by dealing directly with Donald Trump and bypassing the Europeans. The Europeans, of course, have been absolutely at the forefront of supporting Ukraine. And, of course, remember, Ukraine's western border is effectively Europe's eastern border. So I think the reality is that the European leaders who are meeting here think it is ludicrous to imagine a peace deal for Ukraine that does not involve them. That is one of the things they are talking about inside the Elysee Palace right now. Giorgia Meloni, the Italian Prime Minister, was the last leader to arrive. She joins leaders from across this continent, Emmanuel Macron, Keir Starmer, Olaf Scholz from Germany, who's got an election this weekend. Mette Frederiksen is here from Denmark, representing a whole group of nations, Spain, Netherlands, Poland, of course. And then, as you said, NATO, European Commission, European Council. It's a very powerful set of people brought together quickly, and they are anxious. Make no mistake, the reason they're here is Donald Trump. The reason that this has been gathered together is because of his rhetoric, his actions in contacting Putin direct, and also I think some pretty caustic criticism, partly from Trump, but also from his Vice President, J.D. Vance, when he was here in Munich. And actually it was that conference that I think led directly to this meeting being called. Bluntly, the Europeans think that they are being sidelined and marginalised in something where they, in their opinions, are absolutely central. And that is not just the future of Ukraine. This is the future of the transatlantic relationship, which has pretty much underpinned Europe since the end of the Second World War. I think in that time, particularly the British and the French considered America to be a nation with an unbreakable bond of loyalty. And now that seems to be under threat. And it's happened very quickly. But this criticism, this more isolationist economic position, and now this idea that not only will America go behind Europe's back and deal directly with Russia, but that it would threaten to say, well, there'll be a peace deal, but we won't put American troops on the ground. You guys are going to have to police it. And by the way, we tell you that you should be spending more on defence.